Stop the cap.
You know, the system of white supremacy is just it's powerful. I mean, it is powerful. And you see this with even Arab supremacy, because Arabs see themselves as just the other wing of the system of white supremacy. But you see this with the whole fiasco over the Netflix and Cleopatra and the way she's being depicted. Again, we already talked about. We know she's a Greek Macedonian, Ptolemaic dynasty, Hellenistic period. But I see about I guess it's been a year that they've been doing this crap, online. These Egyptians and Egyptian sympathizers, they come online and they make these videos, attacking the so-called Afrocentrist and saying that the Afrocentrists are, labeling everything as black and they're trying to steal our history. I'm like, if you're an Egyptian Arab in Cairo, you are the descendants of invaders. The Arab Muslims came in there in the 7th century. The Greeks were there before that, or the Romans were there before that. The Greeks were there, before that. The Hyksos were there before that. So Egypt has been invaded multiple times, but I keep seeing this image all over. Like, they keep using the same image, and what irritates me is the first off, it's the assumption that, number one, all black people look the same, and that all black people have the Niger Congo look or Ugandan look. And again, just like I had to apologize to that East African woman, if black people are 300,000 years old, we don't have, the other group's features. They have black people's features, modifications, genetic variations of black people's features. So when people talk about East Africans having alkaline features or white features, no, it's the white people and the Arab people that have African features because those features started in Africa. But in any event, whenever these racist Arab Egyptians come through, they have this concept in their head that any image that they see that has quote unquote alkaline features or keen features or slim nose features equals they must be Arab. And they're not black, because black people, all have substantial subnasal prognathism and, look like they came right out of the Congo. They completely ignore the Afar people. They ignore the Beja people. Hell, they ignore the people that are right there in Aswan, Egypt. Because you have to remember that the location of the capitals of ancient Egypt were in the south, not in the north. It was not in Cairo. It was in Thebes and Luxor. But in any event, I keep seeing this image that they keep putting up there, and I'm addressing this one Egyptian guy. I think he's an Egyptian Cop. He's Coptic, and he wants to claim that all the ancient Egyptians look like a Middle Eastern. He's got tons of videos where he's using these whitewashed or Arab washed images, and like, these Egyptians, they don't do any research. All you got to do is just look at the family tree, or look at other busts, other statues, because usually there's more than one, to really determine what the racial makeup of the person was. Nah, they don't take none of the time to do that. So, and I find them constantly doing this with especially the 18th dynasty, right? Because the 18th dynasty, right, that's the very popular dynasty. That's the dynasty of King Tut, right? Going into 18th and 19th dynasty. And they'll use images of, Hatshepsut and Akhenaten, which is a particularly popular one, where they whitewash Akhenaten. And I'm like, the whole 18th dynasty is a black dynasty. Why do you keep trying to whitewash Akhenaten? There's plenty of other. I mean, were there any Near Easterner pharaohs? Yes, there were. But Akhenaten is not one of them. But because they identify with Akhenaten's features, they want to claim Akhenaten. And I'm like, look at Akhenaten's parents, look at his daughters, look at his son. Although some people have argued that that King Tut's father might not be Akhenaten, but be Smenkari. But the problem is that the 18th dynasty, especially, they were inbred. So sitting there trying to determine who somebody was, whether they were a brother or an uncle, you see that there's a relation there. But when you got consanguinity going on, which means incest, right? It's going to be very difficult to tell who's actually related to who, even though you know that they're related. But here is an image, right? I already had the image of Akhenaten up there that I'm talking about, that they keep whitewashing this Akhenaten. Here is the image of Akhenaten's father, Amenhotep III, because Akhenaten's name before he changed it to Akhenaten was Amenhotep IV. Here is an image of his mother. Here is an image of one of his daughters, because I think he had two daughters. Here's another image of another one of his daughters. Here's an image of King Tut on the throne, on his throne chair, with his half-sister wife. You see the brown skin? Hold on. Let me zoom in a bit so you can really see it. You see the brown skin? Okay? I don't know where on planet Earth these Arab Egyptians get the idea in their head that if your father looks like this, and your mother looks like this, and your daughters look like this, that this is what you look like. This does not produce any of these. So if you're going to try to make an argument about ancient Egypt is not a black African and these Afrocentrists are just talking a bunch of bullshit, don't use Akhenaten. Use anybody else other than the 18th dynasty. If you're going to try to make an argument, you guys are just make yourself look bad, and you don't even do just even the slightest amount of homework before you go on and then post your bullshit and post your white supremacy online. You're embarrassing yourselves. Please, please, for the love of Hotep, stop using Akhenaten and claiming that he looked more like an Arab man than a black man because his children's phenotype says otherwise. Oh.